together to launch a very important project, which is called Promoting Social Inclusion and Self-Reliant Livelihood Activities in Armenia, which will be a 3-year-long project that is going to be under the heading of overcoming poverty. So this is very important, especially given the current situation in Armenia. And I would like to ask us all to stand up for a minute of silence in order to pay tribute to those young Armenian men due to whose lives we're today living alive, and we can be present here at this event. Thank you. Approximately 24% of the Armenian population is a vulnerable group. I think that during these days this number must have gone up and this project is very important today, more important than ever. And the most important thing is that people are getting used to not just getting the fish, but to fish. That is to say, they're learning to create more, and they're learning to become a success story for many. And I think that today, more than ever, we are faced with the task of shifting vectors. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to now invite onto the stage our host, the president of the Armenian Association of Social Workers, Ms. Mira Antonyan. The floor is yours. Good afternoon. I am very happy to greet you, those who are in this hall right now, and those who are watching us online, watching this important event online. It was quite difficult for us to make a decision about organizing this celebrative launch of the project, even though the official launch of the project was months ago. But because of the reasons we all know about, it was quite difficult for us to decide to go for this public event. And we finally decided that no matter what, those people who need assistance cannot wait, and the work of those who assist is to focus as much as possible, to pull themselves together, and to organize the literate assistance for the people who are waiting for it. So this project is just an opportunity of the kind, and I would like to especially thank, at the very beginning, both the World Bank and the Foreign Affairs Ministry of Japan, with whom we conducted the 3-year preparatory work. And I would also like to extend the gratitude to our Ministry of Labor and Social Affairs, because we had a routine work on the conceptual framework of the project in the conditions of this crisis, and as a solution of this crisis, social workers have an opportunity to invest their professional potential, at least to heal some small wounds. So this project addresses this objective, that regardless of the impossibility, we still find the way to be next to people and to support them. I love the ideology of the project because this is based and anchored on promoting. It's about working with people, not about giving something to people, but rather working with people. And all my colleagues and all those who are present today, I'm convinced, are in favor of the thought that the population of Armenia, those who are considered poor, have long deserved collaboration in this method in order to be able to break this vicious circle, and who are able to live self-reliantly and in a dignified manner. I would like to really turn to the people who have honored us with their presence today, and we realize that we're in a situation where we cannot but speak about the topical situation, but this is a very important occasion for the association, and we have a full-fledged opportunity to invest our professional capacity to cover 5 Marses and to reach out to over 11,000 beneficiaries. We have, in order to attain such an ambitious goal, we need the people who are present here. Without them, it would have been impossible for us to design the project proposal. That is why I would like to give the floor to Ms. Anna Zhamakocyan. Before her, we had quite a long period of work with Ms. Andreasyan, and after her, we smoothly moved on with Mrs. Zhamakocyan. I would like also to call to Ms. Sylvie Musotru, and she's watching us online, and I do not know where I should look into to say a greeting word to her, who is the World Bank country manager for Armenia, a person who at the very beginning immediately welcomed the idea. I would like to greet Ms. Rika Onodera, the Second Secretary for Economic Cooperation at the Embassy of Japan in Armenia. I would like to mention Mr. Hovhannisyan, who is representing the Foreign Affairs Ministry of Armenia. Today with us are representatives from the National Assembly, and we have also online viewers from the Social Affairs Committee, and I cannot mention their names. At the moment with us are our colleagues from USAID, as well as representatives from UN in Armenia from all agencies. I would like to give my word of greeting. Mr. Arsen Manukyan, advisor to Vice Prime Minister, is here with us too. Our long-standing colleague. We have also partners, colleagues, and representatives from the Ministry of Labor and Social Affairs. We have social workers, community representatives watching us online from different regional administrations. Of course, our board of the association is here in full composition, and right now we're watched online by all those people who in the social sector have interest in changing ways of work and practices and finding effective ways of working with people. I would like to greet all of these people, everyone who's with us, and I would like to state that together with you we will try to do everything to make sure that this project that is called to improve people's situation and life via promoting should be implemented effectively, and I would like to assure you that we're not going to stop a minute to invest our efforts completely and comprehensively. We're going to work day and night together so that 300 people from now on will be able to become self-reliant and will leave the poverty allowance system, and we need to make sure that these 11,000 people have access to services. And I would like to express my hope. I forgot to mention also our representative from the Ministry of Economy, but I would like to express a wish and a hope that whoever we try to collaborate with, whoever we invite to become part of our network activity, I will not get a free refusal and my offer will not be turned down. Thank you very much for accepting this invitation and for bringing your presence today. Thank you very much, and I would like to invite Anna Zhamakocyan onto the platform, Deputy Minister of Labor and Social Affairs of Armenia. The floor is yours. Thank you. I would like to greet you, dear colleagues, dear participants. Yes. We all know that our country is in a very difficult situation, and this is a huge trial for them, and we know what social impact and consequences this may have. And already we are living in a country where we have multidimensional poverty, and these are additional challenges, and overcoming these challenges is not going to be an easy task. However, I would like to say that the negative impact of this situation, of these challenges, will be best mitigated if we invest all our proper effort, and this depends on the quality of our policies, and especially on the quality of the implementation of these policies, which in itself is largely dependent on the quality of our collaboration. Here we are present at the launch of a project, the format of which is quite indicative of our intentions. I'm very happy to see that our Armenia's friends, our international partners, are present here, and I'm especially happy here to see that on the axis of this project we have the local professional capacity, that is to say, the community of practice of social workers of Armenia. And my presence today is actually symbolizing the support of the government of Armenia to such projects and to such policies which will contribute to the activization of the citizens and the promotion of their inclusion and the enhancement of self-reliance. This is a priority in our social policy, and such policies and this project is in line with these policies that I mentioned. I think that accordingly our joint efforts together with our international partners and together with our local capacity will best be invested in the implementation of this project to attain positive outcomes. In our social policies, we're largely based on the combination of international and local best practices, as well as the state and the professional community's capacity. I would like to thank you all, and I would like to thank the responsible entities for the project implementation. We're ready to collaborate, and we're looking forward to positive outcomes. Thank you very much. Right now we will have a call from France, and Sylvie Bossutron, World Bank Country Manager for Armenia, will join us.
Thank you very much.
Շատ շնորհակալություն։ Հարգելի ընկերներ, կարող եք լսել եւ տեսնել ինձ։
Yes, we can. Hello.
Կարող ենք։
I will assume you can see me.
Կենթադրեմ, որ կարողանում եք ինձ տեսնել, մենք կարող ենք ձեզ եւ տեսնել եւ լսել։ We can both see and hear you, Sylvie.
Okay. 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 Great.
Annalie.
Well, great. So, good afternoon,
everybody. Բարև ձեզ, ողջունում եմ բոլորին, ողջունում եմ գործընկերներին։ Իսկապես Երանի կարողանայի ֆիզիկապես ներկա լինել եւ ձեզ հետ միասին լինել։ Հիանալի զգացողություն կլիներ, եթե հիմա Հայաստանում լինեի, բայց հանգամանքները այնպես դասավորվեցին հենց COVID-ի հետ կապված։ Ես զանգահարում եմ ձեզ Ֆրանսիայից, բայց ես չէի կարող բաց թողնել այս հնարավորությունը գոնե վիրտուալ հարթակում ձեզ հետ լինելու։ Թույլ տվեք սկսել խոսքս նախ եւ առաջ ողջունելով Տիկին Աննա Ժամակոչյանին, աշխատանքի եւ սոցիալական հարցերի նախարարի տեղակալին, նա հենց նոր խոսեց մեզ հետ Ռիկա Օնոդերային, Հայաստանի Հանրապետությունում Ճապոնիայի դեսման տնտեսական համագործակցության երկրորդ քարտուղարին եւ Տիկին Միրա Անտոնյանին, Հայաստանի սոցիալական աշխատողների ասոցիացիայի նախագահին։
who opened the meeting today.
որ այսօրվա հանդիպման բացման խոսքով հանդես եկավ։
I would like to
Ես
thank
կցանկանայի
you from Japan.
շնորհակալություն հայտնել Ճապոնիայի կառավարությանը առաջին հերթին իր առատաձեռն դրամաշնորհի համար $2.7 միլիոն եռամյա ծրագրի իրականացման համար, այն ծրագրի, որի մեկնարկը տալիս ենք այսօր։ Այս դրամաշնորհը շատ կարևոր է եւ այն տրամադրվում է Ճապոնիայի սոցիալական զարգացման հիմնադրամի կողմից, որը մեխանիզմ է, որը ստեղծվել է Ճապոնիայի կառավարության եւ համաշխարհային բանկի կողմից ուղիղ աջակցություն ցուցաբերելու ամենաաղքատ եւ ամենախոցելի։
The purpose is to build their capacity and to provide needed support to allow them to participate in society and economic life more fully. The project has been designed by the World Bank in partnership with the Ministry of Labor and Social Affairs of Armenia and will be implemented by the Association of Social Workers. We are to have the Association of Social Workers as our implementing agency for this project, as the association will bring to the project an expanded network of both community and state social workers, and will thus be well equipped to work closely with NGOs and community and faith-based organizations that are in direct contact with people in need, including extreme poor households, households with disabled members, single woman-headed households, elderly people, and displaced people. We really appreciate the association's efforts in preparation of the project, and we wish them good luck at the implementation stage. So these are dramatic times for Armenia, as we know all too well. And this project is thus very timely, as it will provide critical support to the neediest groups of the population in a context of, unfortunately, continued pandemic and need to improve resilience in the new post-war context and realities. The project has the ambitious objective of increasing access to social assistance benefits and services and providing self-employment support for about 11,000 extremely vulnerable individuals in 5 marses of Armenia, as was already said, Armavir, Ararat, Shirak, Lori, and Kotaik. They were chosen in consultation with the Ministry of Labor and Social Affairs based on key social economic characteristics. And this objective will be achieved by improving, number one, improving the social case management system and strengthening the role of existing community and territorial social workers who are the connectors between families and available social assistance benefits and services. And second, by providing entrepreneurship support to selected family benefit program beneficiaries as a pathway to graduate out of the program through enhanced self-sustainability. Now about the results that we're hoping for and expect. We expect at least 5,000 individuals, of whom at least 40% women, will receive self-employment support in various forms, including at least 300 individuals who will receive sub-grants to start their own business. At least 6,000 individuals, of whom at least 50% will receive access to various needs-based benefits or services other than self-employment support through the social case management system that will be developed under the project. And third, at least 200 state and community social workers will be trained to effectively implement the new social case management program. We also plan to enhance the project focus on conflict-affected households and individuals. And I personally look forward to new success stories of vulnerable individuals who, with the help of this project, will gain confidence and will be able to start a new life based on increased self-reliance. As I learned over my past almost 4 years in Armenia, Armenian people are some of the smartest, some of the most innovative, and some of the most talented people I came across in my life. So I strongly believe that with a little nudge and a little bit of support, some of these talents can come to expression. And this is why, even though far away from you geographically, I wanted to be here today for the launch of this project, of which I'm a very big fan. So thank you for bearing with me through these digital means, and best of luck to all of you.
Thank you.
Շնորհակալություն. And now I would like to invite Rika Onodera, Second Secretary of Economic Cooperation at the Embassy of Japan in Armenia.
Let me speak in English. Honorable Deputy Minister of Labor and Social Affairs, Ms. Anna Zamako-chan, and Honorable Country Manager of the World Bank for Armenia, Ms. Sylvie Bostrot, Distinguished President of the Armenian Association of Social Workers, Ms. Mira Antonia, dear guests, ladies and gentlemen, sorry, unfortunately, Ambassador couldn't come today, but on behalf of the Japanese government, it's a great honor and pleasure for me to attend the launch event for the project of promoting social inclusion and self-reliant livelihood activities in Armenia. This is a truly significant project, supported and funded by the Japanese government through the Japan Social Development Fund and administered by the World Bank, worth of $2.7 million, and planned to be implemented in a 3-year period. We are deeply convinced that this extremely important and timely project will contribute to the increase of the level of welfare and enhancement of life of vulnerable people of the society through the capacity building of social workers and vocational training for targeted people. This project is designed for and will support over 11,000 individuals and vulnerable people in the regions of Armenia, helping to increase access to social assistance, benefits, and services, and will provide self-employment support to vulnerable members of society in selected groups. The 2020 has truly been a very hard year for Armenia. Now we strongly believe that Armenia will manage to go through this challenge. We sincerely hope that this project will be one of those steps that can help Armenia to further strengthen its economy and society by supporting and bringing timely assistance to the vulnerable people. Let us look forward to its successful implementation. We also hope that this project will further enhance the goodwill and the friendly relations that already exist in Armenia and Japan. In closing, I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to all parties involved in this important project. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Հարգելիներս այս պահին մենք արդեն կարծում եմ կարող ենք
Dear guests, I think that right now we can already start our discussion, and I would like to invite the following people for our panel. So, Dr. Mira Antonian, President of the Armenian Association of Social Workers, Ms. Astrid Minasyan, Advisor to the Minister of Labor and Social Affairs of Armenia, Ms. Magda Gasparian, Head of Social Protection Division of the Department for Children and Social Protection of the Yerevan Municipality, Ms. Yevgenia Vartanyan, Advisor on specific functions of the structural units of the Ministry of Labor and Social Affairs of the Republic of Armenia, and Mrs. Repsime Hovanesyan, Chief Specialist of the Department of Entrepreneurship Development of the Ministry of Economy of Armenia, also acting head of the department as of now. Diaz, I would like to ask you to be brief in trying to answer the questions, not exceeding 2 minutes because we're quite short of time, and I would like to remind you that you and those who are present here can pose their questions and also, if you're watching us online, you can ask your questions on our YouTube channel. You can send your comments. Ask questions, and now moderators will pass the questions to me, and I will ask them our panelists. You see the microphones that are next to you, and if there are problems, I'm here to assist you. And I would like to ask Astrid Minasyan, Advisor to the Minister. You will be the first one we will start with. So the objective of the project is to really promote the capacity of taking our extremely poor population out of the trap of poverty. But here we're also thinking about the shift format of labor and employment. In this sense, what kind of state policy do we have right now? And if we look at the long-term and the short-term perspectives, what is the reality? What is the situation that we're in right now? Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for this opportunity. And first of all, joining thank you for this opportunity. I would like to join all the nice words that have already been announced, but I would like to first of all address social workers who are directly and immediately working with people immediately being impacted by the COVID-19, as well as the war situation and the post-war situation and the war problems that are ongoing right now, at the same time having the same problems in their families. So I would like to thank all social workers, the municipalities, NGOs, the staff of Prime Minister, the National Assembly, because we are all harnessing our activities for the sake of the improvement of the livelihood of our citizens. So what is our strategy in this regard? Our strategy is that immediately it needs to be radically revised because of all the problems that we had this year. So we are having a constant change in the set of the problems. If initially we had certain limitations due to the lockdown, then we already moved into the war situation. We were hosting the Artsakh population. We assumed that they were going back, but now we have a different situation. Hence we have a set of problems that get down to the relations between the social worker and the citizen. If in 2018 we had 23% poverty, we changed the methodology in 2019, and now we have 26%, even though these are not comparable figures. However, we do already have some increase in 1 percentage point of poverty. And I do not want to speak about the data for 2020, because we can see the continuous economic impact impact of COVID, and also we can see the impact and the consequences of the war. We're now confronted with very serious challenges, and if as a result of this project we come to a point where every worker sees, understands, orients himself or herself, and acts accordingly, as a result of which every beneficiary can identify his or her problem and can take relevant action, just as we're doing in our families, this will be our most important value. If for Ms. Antonian, the best outcome, as she already said, is the 11,000 citizens who in Yerevan and in the four Marses will be able to be included in the project, then the state needs to expand it to cover the whole of the Republic. So we are speaking, if we're speaking about the terminology of the social workers, we can later translate this terminology into legal discourse, and we can already have our strategy. We're not speaking about just one or individual and isolated social problem. But here we're having a number of problems that come as a cluster, as a set, as a bundle, and we have people who are watching us online, and these people too shall come together with us. We shall come together, identify the needs, collaborate, establish the relevant teams, and be able to find the targeted and relevant social activities. And I just described and find a solution to the problem. And this is the description of the case management. And also, if these individuals are able to also step into certain labor relations, then yes, we can say that we have gained fruit. Social work is really difficult because you do not see the outcome immediately, and we always see the challenges, we always have alarms and alerts, and it seems that we have had difficulties and we have an impression that we have failed. But we need to understand where we started and where we've got to, what our success is, what we managed. And if we do, then this will also be part of the success and the successful outcome of this project, because here we will be able to enhance the role of the social worker. Here we're speaking about professionalism, we're speaking about resources, and this may come in the form of knowledge, of finance, as well as a set of human qualities or skills. Here we speak about will, perseverance, and ambition. And all these qualities need to be acquired by us, first of all, and need to be transferred to our beneficiaries. Of course, we speak about professionalism as our key point that goes as a red line throughout all the processes. So it seems that the pandemic was the front line for 2020. We started out with doctors, and then we already had our soldiers on the front line, and we had social workers with them on the front line. So Ms. Mira uses the word frontliners, and in this sense, social workers within the framework of this project are the frontliners, and the work that they're going to implement is going to be a longer term, because they will be worked with too, and the knowledge that they will be able to obtain is going to be necessary and applicable for their future activities. I would like to ask Evgenia Vartanyan. So in the sector of social security, we need some systemic change, as we already said. And I do not have a lot of information, but as far as I know, separate dedicated agencies are going to be created in order to improve the professional qualifications and knowledge of social workers. What's going on? What work is being implemented? Where have we got to? Where are we heading? Now, thank you for the question. First of all, I would like to happily greet all the people attending this event, and also to wish us good luck within this project that is really important. We would like to express our willingness to fully support the fruitful and effective implementation of the project. I think we all highly prioritize the inclusiveness and the inclusion of our beneficiaries in the society. by promoting their skills and livelihood activities. Yes, we are going to go for serious systemic change, focusing on social work and, most importantly, one of its methodologies, the case management. In general, social work in modern societies is highly prioritized. I would like to start with this, and in our conditions we can see that social workers are playing an immense role and they're doing significant work, and it is via social workers that we get not only to the partial or full solution of social problems, hopefully complete solution of the problems, but the thing is that the social work methodology is largely based on development, and many can support in the solution of social problems, but the social worker does this based on a specific methodology, and they focus on the development of both the individual and the environment and the society at large. It is really important, and right now the professional potential and capacity of the social worker is a priority issue for us, and I also would like to join the words, the kind words and the celebration and the congratulatory words that were channeled to our participants. Of course, we have a lot of tasks, but we see them as tasks that we need to address one by one in order to get down to the implementation of the reports, especially in terms of the establishment of complex social services. We have problems. We need to ensure not only physical accessibility, but also integration of these services, and we need to create respective legal acts and regulations and regulatory frameworks, and we need to ensure professional training sessions for our social workers, because this is really important from the perspective of new approaches within the new system. But here, the most important thing that I largely prioritize is that we all have the willingness and the determination to solve all these problems and to arrive at the final destination of the full implementation of the reform. May God assist us in taking all these steps and for succeeding in those steps. See, we're speaking about social work methodology, and now I'm trying to understand how close we are to this case management practice, to this new model. And my question is for Magda Gasparyan. Good afternoon. I would like to greet you all. First of all, before speaking, I would like to say it is my honor to serve social work and social workers. Lastly, we have come to a point where we're moving from bureaucratic principles to the case management methodology, and hopefully this transition is smooth. Lastly, we're here. We've been waiting for this moment in time for years, and I'm hopeful that this project will enable us to invest and to bring in this approach, this methodology, and to solve the problem of professionalism. I'm hopeful that professionals will start working in social work departments and entities, and the case management modules that are provided by WISU will start to be used and applied, and the social worker will feel supported and secure in making the profound and deep need analysis and need assessment. I am full of hope, and I'm very happy to see that this project is launched and that we are implementing the methodology, and we will be moving towards a brighter future. Thank you very much. Ms. Hovhannisyan, my question is for you. The second component of the project is about the provision of self-employment opportunities to vulnerable groups, to people in vulnerable groups, or to implement a business project. I think that all of us here, we will agree that for quite a long time already, the provision of support and assistance does not give the beneficiaries more than just a temporary solution of an immediate matter. And this approach is really important because this will enable them to become more self-reliant and to base it on their own experiences. How do you see this, and what should it be looking like in reality and in practice? First of all, I would like to thank you all and also to greet you all. I highly welcome the project, and it is quite important to ensure that these people are fully integrated in the business environment. Social allowances and benefits somehow make people dependent, and they solve temporary and small issues, and they cut them away from further development opportunities. Such projects as such will enable the population, the social service business development projects, to improve the living standard and also the conceptual framework of implementing business, because they will enhance business knowledge and business capacity. And very often we know that people are not aware of the support mechanisms provided by the state. They think they do not have access to finance, and there are no available state support tools to start up their own business. That is to say, we have a problem of communication. Yes, it is a problem of communication and skills, because as far as I can understand, the project is trying to provide a comprehensive solution to this. And also in terms of the state support tools, the state has quite a successful project to support startups, and this is part of the coronavirus impact mitigation activity. And within the framework of this activity, 10 million support is given to startups. But even in the availability and the accessibility of this finance, we still have a problem with people being unaware of these opportunities. And also, people feel scared because the groups that you're mentioning believe that they cannot undertake anything. They already have this complex of incapability, and I am hopeful that this project will come to break. The project also envisages that the beneficiaries will be able to be referred to other organizations who come up with projects and opportunities to support startups. And in general, my comparison of the state is that of a parent. Very often a parent may give some sum of money to the child to launch a business, and of course later the child needs to pay it back to the parent. And in our case, this should come in the form of labor, added value, taxes, etc. We spoke about COVID, etc. And during the upcoming 2 years, what is the budget that is allocated to such support in the state, and what shall we expect in this regard? Your comparison is quite right, but in any case, the parent does not have unlimited potential to support the child. So the parent gives the knowledge, gives the life skills, independent living skills, and some capital. And it seems that the state is also following the same principle. It should be noted that I believe that it is an important event to see the 2020-2024 strategy for the SME development, where we have a very clearly stated action plan. And the thing is that access to finances seems to be the central issue. But for quite a long period of time, I've been working in this sector, and I realized that access to finance is secondary because of incapability of conducting business. The business fails even by the end of the first or second year. And startups are believed to be the business entities that are operating up to 3 years, and very often they just fail the opportunity of expanding, rolling out, and scaling it up. So I would like to say that this 2024 strategy has singled out and has listed all the key and major actions, and we're working with the European Bank, focusing on the concept note of social entrepreneurship, and perhaps soon this will be approved by the government, and we would like to introduce the concept of social entrepreneurship and also the legal regulations and the social enterprises. We will single out the legal regulatory framework because as a concept this is seen as a business entity or entrepreneurship that focuses on solving social issues, but international practices show that they come to solve serious community issues, and this is quite a serious and significant tool to solve different issues within the society. Okay, so we are still speaking about professionalism, but of course we're speaking about professionalism and communication in order to make people aware of the opportunities and possibilities. Ms. Mira, as far as I know, such a project was implemented in Davos Mars, and also World Vision conducted a similar project, Armenia Relief Fund conducted a project in Davos Mars, and we really had quite significant outcomes because people were equipped with entrepreneurship skills, and with a small nudge people were able to move forward, and we could already see the success stories that somehow went viral. So the case management important. Can you please speak about this and also address the importance of case management? Thank you very much. Speaking about the Armenia Relief Fund and also World Vision, and there are also a number of other initiatives, and I'm afraid that I will forget them. So luckily, these are continuous projects, and they luckily continue their operation. These are different initiatives which for years and due to different approaches have prepared and created starting point for this project. We have our Armenian example and our experience, and if I'm not mistaken, the Armenian Apostolic Church also, and also AGBU and other organizations, quite a large list of organizations, have very interesting ideas and initiatives, all aiming at one thing, starting at a certain point to pay attention not at the people's vulnerability, but to focus their potential and their resource and to develop it. And to tell the truth, the model of this project, the approach, is based on the analysis of this experience. And from this perspective, it is one thing that this is something that has not been piloted in the country and you initiated, but it is a different story when you already have different examples, different experiences and practices, which gives you a possibility to learn lessons and have lessons learned and to know what works and what doesn't. We have had other initiatives and projects too, and we have tried to find them, to have discussions with the colleagues and partners to understand what experience and what practice is there on the ground, depending on the region, on the dependency and interdependency level, the efforts of breaking the circle of the fear and getting into the market, and what was successful and what failed. And I'm very happy to note that we have very many success stories where business viability continued to sustain. It was quite active for quite a long period of time, and at least the organization, the Armenian Relief Fund, I know Davos, it started out with 250 families in Davos, and we have about 60% success, and the project has been operating for about 7 years. But we started out with families, and we're not actively involved with the first cluster of families. We were very closely collaborating during the first 4 years. Now we're just monitoring. We're looking at what they're doing. We focused on families that had resources and were able to find the resource. I think the number one challenge for us in this project is to be able to find a solution to this dichotomy. That is to say, on the one hand, we have vulnerability, which has given them access to the system of family poverty and family benefit because they're truly vulnerable. And on the other hand, resource, that is to say, labor force, human potential, willingness to change the situation they're in. We know that we're going to be facing another challenge. But however, the analysis of the positive experience we're have had gives us a message that very often when people have to face a choice to choose between their own income by their own labor and or the regular benefits that they get, it takes quite a lot of effort and time to make sure that this choice is in favor of self-reliance. And I know that there were people who were able to get to self-reliance, and I know the set of methods necessary to incline people to self-reliance. And by the way, our organization is very well aware of this. We have given them counseling in order to help people to prioritize regular self-reliance over regular benefit. By the way, I would like to say that it's really important for us to publicize and to promote and to publicize the success stories and the positive experience. This is really important. I would like to refer to all the points mentioned and also to raise issues. We were speaking about work of families that are beneficiaries of the poverty assistance, and also we are speaking about self-reliance and also enhancing opportunities for them to become successful by their work. The level of poverty is 26%. And if we're speaking about the families that are beneficiaries of the system, we have only 10% of adults. We're largely speaking about families with children that are making use of the poverty system. And I come to a conclusion that in the Ministry of Economy, the applicants of start-uppers and the small portion of them moving towards active entrepreneurial activity leads us to the following conclusion, and maybe you agree with me, or if you don't, we may perhaps take up a discussion on this, that our economically active population, or the part of the population that has children, unfortunately does not have sufficient business-related or knowledge of finances and financial management, because very often when we deal with them, we know that they came to this difficult situation because of their financial illiteracy. Because if they were financially literate, they would have been in a better situation. That is to say, here we should see this within the general context. That is to say, here we're not just speaking about the problem of families that benefit from the social system, but also all those families that have been left out of the social security system because they do not feel confident in their potential, in their future. It is possible that they've graduated from school, but they are unable to conduct, they're not literate in financial management. They do not have sufficient literacy in their financial management. And in this case, we're not overcoming poverty. And when I say we, I'm already speaking on behalf of the population, but we actually aggravate the situation. And since we're speaking about case management, here we're also thinking about collaboration and cooperation with the education sector. What do we do in the education sector to make sure that these children grow up as a conscious and capable and literate financial manager, someone who is able to make proper and well-informed decision about the management of their finances. So maybe we should refer to these issues from the very beginning, from the radical perspective, because it is one thing when we teach a poor family. It seems that we're waiting for the family to get poor first, and then we will teach them what to do, whereas we should start solving the problem from the very beginning. I fully agree with you, and of course I could not talk about the strategy of SMEs from beginning to end, but of course, the strategy also envisages this most important stress. We have already identified this key issue, and it also envisages collaboration with the education sector. Together with the Ministry of Education, we're going to design joint curricula for business management, financial literacy, etc. It seems that this is not a common practice, or the way we're doing it, this is not really about business. So a number of actions will be taken in order to design business skills in the elementary school already, and of course we prioritize state assistance. But in general, when we speak about conducting business, we should not forget that this is mostly male-dominated area, and we have very limited female participation, and this perhaps depends on the fact that the property of the household and the assets are managed by the man. And even if a woman wants to go into business, they do not have any guarantees, and they do not have anything to pledge to borrow. And if they do not have anything to pledge, they cannot invest. And I think that these are also national and cultural peculiarities that need to be taken into consideration in this general context. Of course, the project envisages the development of women's potential, and the preparation of the project took 3 years. And I'm convinced you can imagine to what level of detail we have gone to when considering the context of the issue, as well as those who are beneficiaries of the poverty support system, and how we have considered the matter from their perspective, or from the perspective of the people who were supposed to be beneficiaries of the system but are marginalized because they do not have the documents or cannot access any kind of service, not business support or benefits, any support in general. That is why we tried to consider the matter within the wider scope, but taking into consideration the most important targets. And I'm very happy to see this dialogue happening on the platform, because I see that the logic and the rationale of the project is there, because it takes us to this kind of dialogue and discussion. And then coming back to your points, these are really long-term strategy issues. Now, speaking about the topical issues, recently I just can't help but think about this problem. Today, the person who is in a disadvantaged position and who is in need also is in need because of our organization capacity, the capacity and the capabilities we have in organizing the support. Of course, we've had different incidents. There are different incidents, and there are different failures that have not given the people the chance of developing as a household, as a family, as an individual. But we should admit that we, on the one hand, have environmental issues and we have systemic issues. And this project is somehow trying to deal with this dichotomy, that is to say, to ensure a shift in the mentality and moving people who cannot access any social assistance to the system. And the story and the incident in Hashtarak has really saddened us. And it is only the war that hushed it down, because when you have a larger disaster, small-scale individual disasters are moved backward to the background. But I can give you an assurance that maybe 1 or 2 cases, but we have such cases in every village and every community in Armenia. And within the framework of the project, we prioritized the involvement of the families that have been left out of societal focus, and they do not enjoy services that target their needs. So simply they benefit from what is available at the moment. So the project actually focuses on the matter of how we can bring the families back into the focus of assistance that are raising children, but they're raising these children in the trap of child's poverty, and they do not give a possibility to the children to have this kind of the required mentality in the future. We know that social work came to Armenia because of crisis, the earthquake, and then the first Artsakh war. And then we had our own history of development. This is not the time and this is not the place, and I realized that we are really missing such kind of discussions. But this is not the right time and not the right place. We are really doomed to develop. Now, we emerged because of the earthquake, but we do not have any more choice anymore. We have to. We're doomed to develop. This needs to become our daily routine, part of our daily life, and this should not depend on a project. We're not speaking about just possibility or impossibility. We're thinking of this work as indispensable. When we're thinking about this project, we did not think about critical situations of the kind we're facing right now, but now we're filled with determination that at least 200 social workers functioning right now. I have to interrupt you. We're short of time. Let us move on to the presentation immediately, where I think we will already have these details. Okay, so we're planning to work in 5 MARSes, and the solution of the MARS, so the selection was based on a number of criteria. First of all, the level of poverty in the MARSes. I'm very unhappy to see that Yerevan is not included. Magdajan, in Yerevan, we're going to volunteer, and because the head of the department is here, I do not think we're going to have any problems of collaboration. So we see the 5 MARSes, and 11,200 people in the MARSes are going to benefit making use of some set of methodology of social work, because here the methodology will be selected in a differentiated manner. We're trying to respond to this problematic situation. I already spoke about these 2 crises, and I spoke about the level of poverty. We spoke about the willingness and the determination announced by the government to act, and the willingness of the people to take action. This has been a priority to all our governments, to reduce and to overcome poverty. And the next, our important anchor, is the combination of social work and social support and assistance. That is to say, we're not going to start work with a person and finish up with benefits and the benefit system, but we're going to conclude it with labor, especially that this is state strategy.
Moving on, in connection with our beneficiaries, we have cases of mediation everywhere, and we intend to reach all these marginalized people. I hadn't planned this, but I want to say something important here. Let us look the problem straight in the eyes. Majority of families who return from resettled areas to Armenia are children with many families, 6, 8, 10, 16 plus. Families with very many children. Great job that they have so many children, but this is a new group and they need special focus because the conditions they had over there are nowhere near the living conditions that we can provide them here. And we need to confess that in families with multiple children, they always need permanent support, otherwise we will have many more hashtags. This is a bell we ring directly. We look the problem straight in the eyes. We very much hope that all the families at high risk, facing high risk of marginalization in all these regions and Yerevan can be covered. What is the approach? We already have said a lot about promotion and activation of the beneficiaries. I'm glad that the World Bank, our association, the ministry, and for the Japanese side, there are important components of activation. Another key priority has to do with child poverty. All of this should serve inclusion, inclusiveness. Everyone should be able to function in society, irrespective of their starting conditions. That's what we are for, the social workers, so that the starting conditions are not so important, so decisive for the way forward, or what we want to achieve. And Raju nicely reminded me that that's where we can start. We generally imagine that with 11,200 beneficiaries, including 6,000 beneficiaries for whom we hope and very much expect to ensure access to social services. Just 2 words on this. What is access to social services? They don't have to start a business, but that doesn't have to be our goal. But those people who are now applying to the government for an allowance, and that's the only relationship they may have with the government, with that same methodology we can improve access to a wider range of services for these people that may be around us, but they may have never applied, so the life quality for 6,000 people will somehow improve for the better. The other group that is no less important is the 5,000 beneficiaries that we think have resources, possibilities, people who are looking forward to employment opportunities. 3,300 of these beneficiaries we will try to engage in self-employment initiatives that may not know about. 1,400 we assume will get advice for doing business, not only one-on-one counseling on their specific project, but also training, literacy, competences. Being very realistic and understanding that trainings and counseling graduates will not necessarily still present good projects. They may not necessarily continue. We've tried to be realistic, and we assume that after all, 300 beneficiaries will be able to have financing for projects of up to $4,000, and they can start their business activities, understanding that they will need counseling in the process and they will need support. Social workers, case managers in the region, and business advisors, also with your help and the help of many colleagues, will try to do our best so that these people's businesses remain viable. That's positive energy we should constantly convey to these people, saying that they know and they can, and they're no worse than those who are currently successful. I hope very much it can be done. With the 11,200, that 200 is actually crucial. Those 200 are the social workers that will work in the social and employment services in the 5 regions. As you remember, I said this will be an initiative for the integrated agency. I hope the agency will be created on time. And in the agency we have good contacts. Members of our association are represented there, and we have great relationships with the members of the association. Some of those 200 are social workers in the communities in which the services exist. And we have great social workers, members of our association. So that's a total of 200 or more if we can do. I promise we'll try to do more. These people will work with the new methods, or they will finally work with the methods that have long been designed, but due to many problems and many circumstances, we still cannot fully claim that our social workers are using case management methodology. And there are many reasons for that, without going into their details. I want you to know that we will try in parallel with our partners to create favorable employment conditions. If social workers do not get travel costs reimbursed, then they cannot make home visits and help anyone. If they have no computers, PCs, to type in the data, forget it, you will not get any results. So the project will also provide technical equipment to the social workers, and there are numerous components there related to computer software, databases, case management, information systems, and support. We understand that the many difficult problems that will arise until this becomes business as usual and a routine working process. I'm happy that so many people in front of you know that Ivan Suga is from Moscow. Ivan, John, dear Ivan, thank you very much. Colleagues at the World Bank office, Armin and Lucina, have worked with us all this time. One thing is the fantasy of the social workers, another is the operating framework. All of our partners, Lucina Grigorian, have been very helpful, charting the course and showing us the way. Mike Alakan, environmental specialist, has really helped us. The business projects we create will need to be environmentally acceptable, no harm to the environment to be caused. So we've thought about almost all elements. Sofia, to thank Sofia Georgievna and Dorfina Azarian for all this language here. And I will discuss it separately, Mr. Marcosian. This staff have helped us to implement our fantasies and good wishes and to put them in an operational framework. As to Melissa, I know Melissa. Perhaps my whole conscious life, Melissa has always been the World Bank expert and earlier worked with another individual who was also a wonderful individual. We've been in this project very long. We know many people from this project. I very much respect the expertise in social work that Melissa brought to this project. It's one thing when you can think of these things alone, and it's another when you have a mentor with supportive and criticism from the side. I want to thank everyone at the World Bank office. And let me introduce our staff. Madalena, I just failed to name her. Madalena, yeah, we've come a long way. And Vahan will correct me if I'm wrong. Quickly jotted down things in the streets, in the hotels, during events. And I want to also thank Magdalena for helping us to develop this idea. And thank you for prompting Astrid. Now our staff, I'm the president of the association, but I don't work in this project. Let me say this from the outset. But I will definitely be by the side of the project with everything I can do. I will try to help. It will be led by Mr. Ruben Marcosian, member of the board of our association. This is not the first project he is to support or to lead. We know very well his capacity. That's why he will represent the project. Manane Petrosyan. The project has two components. Social work component will be led by Manane Petrosyan, and we have a second component concerning, well, this just says second component, concerns entrepreneurial support. Kara Gevorkyan will take the lead for that component. We have Anna Shogyan, procurement specialist, Tatvik Karapetyan, monitoring and evaluation specialist, Ram Zakarian, financial management advisor. He's our heavy artillery, as they say, someone who's so competent that together with Arsen Manukian, they will ensure utmost transparency and competent management. Kanarik Grigorian, our good colleague sociologist specializing in environmental and social issues, and Christina Nikova, an administrative assistant to the project. Of course, the project will have lots of advisors in social work, in business, consultants from abroad, international consultants, local consultants. There will be a large team. There's a lot of work and it's a strong responsibility, many requirements. By the World Bank, the Japanese embassy, and the social ministry. We set the bar very high. We have to do this project very well so that it becomes a real model, an exemplary one. I will stop there. Thank you very much to all those who helped us in the process on the way. But very much thank you to all those who are here, many people following us online, with whom we will do this work later. Try to improve so many lives for so many people. Thank you. In Spitak, when I found out about the launch of this project, I lost my mind and I rushed to Yerevan to meet, to make this genuine and not, to make sure this is real and not some sort of a dream. I know I'm convinced that this is real. 30 years ago, as you say, we began after the earthquake. I'll finish soon. Well, thank you. It probably makes sense for me to speak because I come from the hot spots where there are problems, where there are needs. For 30 years I have dedicated my life to this type of support. When I see people's plight, I decided to be by their side. I moved from Yerevan to Spitak. We created a center, an NGO. My name is Sholik Amirkhanyan. I'm an architect. But in order for me to help the construction, I first went there to do design. Then, after 2 years of design, I realized if the construction has stopped, then we should educate the new generation for the future. And we opened the Children's and Youth Center called Shoresh in Spitak, which means literally rays, for our rays of light to spread among the children, to overcome the crying and the depression, and we can bring them out of homes and educate them as future citizens. Now we are promoting entrepreneurship. We have a preschool there. We even have a robotics group. But let me show you, we have now started to train women on how to make warm gloves, eco-friendly, warm and very nice looking. This is needed, and this should be a part of life, because those who live without a purpose, like the sheep, should live with a purpose, and they should give us wool, and we should take the wool from the sheep so their life has meaning. They should contribute to this project too. My point being, we do this with the help of a non-governmental organization. We're not very happy, very excited that the government will be supporting this, and we will join this project, and we will become a business enterprise as well. I hope I'm saying the right things. We hope to join your process for the benefit of the children and the women there. Thank you very much. That wasn't expected, but it's very appropriate. I conclude that this is all the result of fantastic teamwork, but it can succeed fantastically professional with teamwork done with love. I wonder, we have some questions in the audience, and I will try to give you the floor. Let me remind you, all those who are following us online, we have received some more questions, but you can still put questions, post questions through our YouTube page. Thank you. It's not just a question, it's also to congratulate you on the launch of this project. My name is Perikles Tigranyan. I'm a member of Parliament, Health and Social Affairs Committee Deputy Chair. I congratulate all of us on the launch of this project. As far as I know the system, when I used to be in the NGO field, projects like this one mitigate the social burden of the government, and they're a great help to the government. I want to assure you that our committee has great experience of cooperating with the Ministry of Labour and Social Issues, and we will continue to support you. If you encounter problems which are not practical but are legislative, and you need obstacles to be eliminated for a favorable legal environment to be created, then conditions will be created. Let me just ask a clarifying question on the project beneficiaries. 5 regions, 11,000 beneficiaries. Does the project have any additional standards that you used to filter the vulnerable families which are in the ministry's database, or you chose families that are already in that database? And if the project starts in 2020 in December, then the project proposal was drafted a lot earlier. What changes will be needed in the design? Then what elements can be changed as a result of this? Thank you. Thank you very much for coming. We will have many questions, you're right. There will be a need to change the working environment. You're right. Your original decision was to choose from among 32,000 beneficiaries. Why 32,000? That's in 5 regions, the people who are currently registered in the family poverty system. The selection criteria, I spoke about the dichotomy. One criterion is children, because we have a focus on reducing child poverty. The initial beneficiaries will be, 3, 2 or 4 But depending on the number of children, the first filtration criterion will be the number of children in the family. Moreover, other vulnerabilities will be factored in. Having a child is adding vulnerability. There can be disability, being a single parent. We'll also look at the availability of resources. The number of able-bodied people in the family. Why do we do this with the social workers? As Aslik says, we have all the data, including shoe sizes. Our social workers know their beneficiaries very well. We will try with their help to understand which families are seriously vulnerable, but at the same time they are quite promising and they want to do something. So that's on doing business, on the business project, but as to access to services. So it will be mainly based on vulnerability. Multiple vulnerabilities such as child poverty, number of children, disability, being a single parent, poor housing conditions, so the different vulnerability factors. It will be very transparent, rest assured. It will be done on the basis of the existing database. It will be a participatory process before the main work begins. Now look, COVID stopped us from being active and engaging actively. We're yet to start being active. In the first phase of the field work, we will do something very important. We'll do two things. Firstly, understand about the social workers in these 5 regions, what skill development they need, for which we will do needs assessment. And next, we will try to understand the real needs of our potential beneficiaries. On the one hand, we will be using the information we get from social workers that already work with them or NGOs. On the other hand, we will do our own needs assessment, triaging of sorts on different levels to identify the typical problems. So we will do our best to find a way in that region to find out where there are families that are not covered. And the project will not only strengthen the existing ones and help them get out of the system, but also to cover in the system those who are currently not covered by the system, families that are not in the poverty allowance database. And that's our primary database. Everything is based on that database, but we know that database is not necessarily always complete. The ministry is open-minded about it. Some people are in it, shouldn't be in it, and others should be in it, aren't in it. So we'll try to remove those who don't belong there, and those who belong there but are not in there. We will try to help them to end up in that place. Anything to add? No. I think the other questions, for all those who are present, we can continue discussing them over coffee, but for now, for those who are not here, they sent some questions. One question, and we discussed this, but let me know if you have anything to add. What will the project do for social workers? Is there anything to add to what has been said? Just a piece of information. I know that the ministry is working very hard providing technical means to the social workers. We will try to understand who has and who doesn't have tablets or devices to do this work. But for these 200 social workers, there will be the provision of technical equipment, database improvements, and for social workers, well, methodological help, being by your side, doing the work with you, getting in our car and going there with you, getting in our car, organizing home visits with you. Thank you. Next question. Maralik Regional Employment Center, Manvel Nazarian. What is being done in addition to the state employment programs for persons in need not to be dependent on the family allowance? Let's try to be concise. There are lots of ideas. Recent one, much discussed, circulated a few times as draft legislation, but is still pending in the ministry. The economic activity and the economic support. A family receiving a poverty allowance, or a family that just became poor, that just lost their employment, is ready to work and has the motivation, will get a package of support made up of services and cash aid for business projects. And that can be a package of different services. Like I said, it was circulated a few times, but it's still pending in the ministry. When we start targeting the families that should receive family allowances, we can identify the cash means for these families, and we should call it an allowance. That's the first project. The experience which we will gain under this project, the experience that we will gain having worked with World Vision, and the experience we will have gained with the regional social services in a project that began the same time last year, which is about support to families that have livestock. These are the types of projects. If they're in the villages, there can be projects for animal breeding. In the towns, we need other projects. We need help from the economy ministry, telling us what projects are needed where. We need help from the economy ministry to tell us about the priorities of economic development in the different regions, so that we can target the schools in those regions to orient the school children to become professionals who will be able to work within their region and develop the regional economy and the economy of all of Armenia. There are many ideas. God willing, we will also have resources. Let's just watch a success story. 2013-16, there was a similar project in the Lori region, and it shows that if someone else could do it, I can definitely do it too.
Վանաձորցի Արեն Միրզաբաբյանը մեկն է բազմաթիվ այն մարդկանցից, որոնց բիզնես ծրագրերը կյանքի են կոչվել շնորհիվ Ճապոնիայի սոցիալական զարգացման հիմնադրամի եւ Համաշխարհային բանկի աջակցությամբ Առաքելություն Հայաստան հասարակական կազմակերպության կողմից 2013-16 թվականներին իրականացված սոցիալապես խոցելի անձանց կենսամիջոցների բարելավմանը միտված ծրագրի շրջանակներում։ 48-ամյա Մեղվաբույծ Արենը ծրագրի շնորհիվ կարողացել է հիմնել իր փոքր բիզնեսը, որն այսօր արդեն մեծ եկամուտների գլխավոր աղբյուրն է։ Մեղվաբուծական սեփական ֆերմայի մասին մի ժամանակ կարող էր երազել միայն։ Վարկային կազմակերպությունների կողմից առաջարկվող տոկոսադրույքները թույլ չէին տալիս ռիսկի դիմել։
Տրամադրվող վարկերն բավականին բարձր են եւ ունեին ռիսկայնություն, այդ գործը չէր ստացվում։ Եվ մի անգամ ինձ զանգահարեցին եւ առաջարկեցի մասնակցել այդ ծրագրին, որը կազմված էր մի քանի բաղադրիչներից, որոշեցի ունենալ իմ մասնակցությունը։
Ծրագրի շրջանակներում կազմակերպվել են բիզնեսի կառավարման հմտությունների դասընթացներ, որոնց մասնակցությունը շահառուներին օգնել է ավելի լավ պատկերացնել անելիքները։ Հաջողության գաղտնիքը ընտրած գործը սիրելն է, անկեղծանում է հերոսը, ում արդեն հասցրել են ճանաչել մաքուր ու առողջարար արտադրանքի շնորհիվ։ Ընտրած բիզնեսի լավագույն կողմերից խոսելով, Արենը կարևորում է դրա սեզոնային առանձնահատկությունը՝ նվիրում, բայց հանգստանալու եւ արտադրանք իրացնելու ժամանակ էլ է մնում։
Սկզբնական շրջանում իհարկե ունեի որոշակի դժվարություններ վաճառքի հետ կապված, քանի որ նոր էի մտնում շուկա, ինչ չէին ճանաչում, սակայն ժամանակի ընթացքում որոշակի հաջողություններ ունեցա եւ տարիների ընթացքում այդ 20 մեղվա ընտանիքը հիմա արդեն դարձրել եմ 50 հատ, ինչը հնարավորություն է տալիս ինձ ամբողջովին ապահովել իմ կարիքները եւ հետագայում հույսեր ունեմ դարձնեմ մոտ 100 ընտանիք, այսինքն դառնանք միջին բիզնես։
Ծրագրի շահառուներից ևս մեկին Վահան Դավոյանին հանդիպեցինք։ Շինշիլաների բուծմամբ երիտասարդը վաղուց էր ցանկանում զբաղվել։ Ծրագրի շնորհիվ կյանքի կոչվեց ևս մեկ հաջողված բիզնես նախագիծ, արդյունքն էլ իրեն երկար սպասեցնել չտվեց։ Նմանօրինակ ինքնասպահվածության խթանմանը միտված ծրագրերի հաջորդ մասնակիցներին Վահանը խորհուրդ է տալիս հավատալ սեփական ուժերին, սիրել ընտրած գործը, առանց հոգի դնելու ոչինչ չի ստացվի։
Հաշմանդամություն ունենալ դեռևս դատավճիռ չէ եւ դա միայն հնարավորություն է։ Ես օգտվեցի ձեռնպարած հնարավորությունից եւ կարողացա հիմնել տնտեսություն եւ դրա շնորհիվ ունենալ սեփական բիզնես, ունենալ սեփական եկամուտներ, առանց որևէ մեկից կախում ունենալու։
Հաջողության հասնելու գլխավոր գրավականը թիկունքին ամուր թիմ, շարունակական խորհրդատվական աջակցություն ունենալն է։ Հերոսներից յուրաքանչյուրը ընդգծում է, առանց լավ թիմի չեր ունենա այն, ինչ ունի այսօր։
Դրա համար շնորհը ինձ օգնեց, որպեսզի կարողանամ այդ իմ վախերը հաղթահարեմ, քանի որ ներդրումը ես չէի անում, ես ավելի ուժեղ էի այդ պահին ինձ, քանի որ իմ կողքին կար մեծ թիմ եւ մինչ օրս էլ ամեն հարցով ես կարողանում եմ դիմել այդ թիմից որևէ մեկին եթե զանգեմ, իրանք պատրաստական են։
Ծրագրի ավարտից հետո 1-2 տարվա ընթացքում իրականացված ուսումնասիրությունները փաստելու եկան, որ ստեղծված 92%-ից 70%-ը հիմնադրվելուց հետո մեկ
if the targets are combined correctly and persistently. Correctly and persistently combining efforts. So good luck to all of us, because if this project succeeds, we will all have succeeded. And as Mrs. Mira said, we have to succeed. There is just no other way forward. And God willing, after a while, we will come back together and we will report exceptionally strong results. Thank you. This discussion today is over. You're invited to coffee. Thank you.